Good day, everyone. I'm Michael Yap, current chair of the Computer Professionals Union from the Philippines, and I'm here to present some key findings and realizations from the implementation of our World Association for Christian Communications funded project, the Philippine Digital Justice Initiative. The project aims to unpack the characteristics, impacts, and ways forward of an increasingly digital world in the Philippine context. To begin with, let me first give a brief backgrounder on the importance of digital justice in the Philippines. The Philippines has long been deemed one of the social media capitals, if not the social media capital of the world, with millions of users and hundreds of content providers via different social media platforms available. In fact, in a study by Statista last Q3 of 2020, Filipino access to the internet is spent mostly on social media, with each Filipino online averaging a little over 4 hours of access a day. Also of note is that a significant number, almost a majority in fact, access the internet through mobile devices. Nonetheless, digital platforms are being promoted and expanded with potential far-reaching impacts across the Philippine economic, social, cultural, and political spheres. This has especially been true with the onslaught of the COVID-19 pandemic, where more and more people relied on digital platforms and services for various needs such as banking, purchases, entertainment, and even public services. Given the ubiquity of digital artifacts and services and how ingrained it is in the Filipinos' lives, the notion of digital justice and bringing awareness to it becomes all the more vital. Through the Philippine Digital Justice Initiative, which commenced September of 2020, we're able to gather inputs and sentiments from the Filipino ICT community, different policy makers and experts, the labor sector, the education sector, and Filipino netizens at large regarding digitalization in the Philippine context from a social justice lens. Through those consultations, coupled by case studies, surveys, and observations, the Philippine Digital Justice Initiative was able to identify the following key digital justice issues relevant to the Philippines: the digital divide, precarious platform-based work, troll on armies and fake news, and hijacked democracies. On digital divide, there are still millions left behind without proper internet access due to lack of devices or due to slow internet speeds. In a mid-year 2021 survey conducted by UCLA, the average mobile internet speed in the Philippines is 32.84 Mbps per download and 8.92 Mbps per upload, placing the country 75th out of 139 countries in mobile internet speeds. The country, meanwhile, sat at an average of 66.55 Mbps download and 66.86 Mbps upload for fixed broadband, good for 62nd place out of 180. It is noted that download speeds for both mobile and fixed broadband are way below global averages. In addition to lagging speeds, cost for access is also at a premium. According to the 2021 Inclusive Internet Index study by The Economist, the country ranked 79th out of 120 countries in terms of affordability. Mobile connectivity cost is ranked 71st in the world, with the current average of $0.75 per MB, while fixed broadband access is at a much more expensive range, costing $44 for a monthly 60 Mbps connection, ranking 83rd globally. The country thus has a long way to go in terms of making the internet accessible to all its citizens. App-based services and online freelancing jobs have increased in demand, especially during lockdown, attracting many into the expanding platform-based gig economy that currently employs millions. These jobs, however, do not offer the same job stability and social protections given to workers with employer-employee relationships. The current Philippine Labor Code does not cover informal and gig workers, and no government regulation currently exists to protect them, thereby making them vulnerable to exploitation and abuse. A highlight of this key issue is on the plight of so-called Transport Network Vehicle Services, or TNVS, riders and couriers. TNVS such as Grab, Foodpanda, Lalamove, Angkas, and other similar companies have become important services, especially during the pandemic. Apart from customer-related problems riders encounter, such as fake or scam bookings, uncooperativeness, and unwillingness to provide accurate or complete details about their orders or locations, they also face systemic issues such as lack of benefits and medical assistance, unfair booking systems, and territoriality of applications. Marketing firms cater to politicians rely on cyber troll armies that create multiple fake social media accounts to boost their image and attack opponents. A hallmark example of this is a 2020 Facebook report detailing the takedown of two networks of fake accounts, mainly targeting Filipino users. The networks even partly consisted of accounts and pages linked to the military and the police. Some of these accounts were even posting content supporting President Rodrigo Duterte and presidential daughter Sara Duterte's potential run in the 2022 presidential elections. Furthermore, the identified troll networks have engaged in red tagging, malicious and fallacious association of a certain person to communist groups. These troll networks have red tagged Filipino activists, journalists, and even regular netizens if they post things deemed negative to the administration's image in attempts to silence or cow them. Finally, we've seen how new technologies could be used for state repression, social engineering, and profiteering, leading to hijacked democracies. The Philippines case, a 2018 report showed the private data of some 1.2 million Filipino Facebook users were harvested by Cambridge Analytica. This data was used for Filipino clients of its parent company, SAL Group, who prides itself in social engineering to influence the behavior of groups of people through targeted messaging. Reports showed that the SAL Group, operating through local proxies with clients, such as President Duterte himself and former 2016 vice presidential candidate Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. Based on these issues, the Philippine Digital Justice Initiative has thus drafted the Filipino People's Digital Justice Declaration as a formal statement of our solidarity and willingness to participate in pursuing and advocating for digital justice. The declaration is rooted on three principles based on the identified issues related to digital justice. Firstly, digital infrastructures, services, and artifacts must be democratized and made more accessible to the public. Every Filipino deserves equitable access to affordable, if not free, quality internet services. The state must consider internet connectivity as a public service and therefore regulate it and that it serves the interests of the Filipino masses. The Philippines must also work towards having its own internet infrastructure. The country must also maximize and mobilize its engineers, scientists, and technologists to design and manufacture its own computing devices which can be used to access the internet. Government must promulgate standards and regulations for digital and online services to ensure data privacy and security, as well as quality of service, and furthermore should develop or enhance its digital and online services. Secondly, information must be free from monopolization and totalitarian control. Filipinos must be able to use and experience various digital public spaces without being actively taken advantage of by any interest groups. A break from foreign dependence in hardware and software will ensure that developing technologies cater to the local demands and needs of Filipinos. Constant and sufficient government support for local research and education in ICT would not only ensure that digital spaces are fit and made for the majority of local consumers, but will also encourage more Filipinos to participate in the digital sphere. Data storage must be decentralized in order to mitigate the risks of any single institution monopolizing data and exposing and compromising the people's data. This must not, however, hinder the efficiency of data management and processing and the services that require it. For internet content to be accessible to everyone, the government must mandate proper translations of local web content into local languages. Digital platforms, while presenting alternatives to their traditional counterparts, must not disenfranchise its users, both laborers and customers. Government institutions must further study the particularities and relations within the system of platform-based work. Data monopoly, such as the one held by Facebook, must be broken and other parts of the internet must also be made available for free. No single website, service, or application should be favored. Finally, the declaration also emphasizes that data rights are human rights. To appreciate data rights as human rights, Filipinos must understand that data about us are extensions of our identities. Without such comprehension, people tend to willingly and carelessly give away their data. Every individual has to be cognizant of their right to data privacy as well as their right to choose whom they share their information with. Exercising and protecting this right must not come at the cost of being denied service or worse, harassed. Our laws and policies must protect this right and must not legitimize mass surveillance. Filipinos have the right to be properly informed of and have control over the collection, storage, processing, and transmission of their data. The government must prepare and equip people with the knowledge, tools, and safeguards against possible ill effects of digitalization, automation, artificial intelligence, and other social and technical changes. The government itself must have sufficient understanding and conduct thorough research in order to proactively respond to potential risks Filipinos may be subjected to. These key realizations underscore the importance of continuity in untangling and articulating digitalization and digital justice in the Philippines, and the creation of a Filipino People's Digital Justice Declaration that will serve as a guidepost for future generations of connected and socially conscious Filipinos. Furthermore, these major realizations are what the Philippine Digital Justice Initiative believes to be significant factors to consider towards elevating the people's public perception and appreciation of key concepts involving digital justice. Thank you very much and good day.